Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I want to say thank you to anybody who support my journey so far, to subscribers or anyone who may randomly found my video and watch it. Thank you so much for hanging out. How are you? And I hope you have amazing day out there. This is me waiting for sunset at small cafe near rice field in the village. Okay, in this video I want to share about my personal experience and story when I went to Bali for the first time. But disclaimer, do not expect I will show you touristy and famous spots or fun activity I did. Not this time, I will tell you why. Obviously, this video was taken last year before my Surabaya and Yogyakarta flight. Like what you see me right now, I packed my clothes a night before I depart to Bali. The reason why I should travel to Bali because I have interview for work opportunity. Usually I have planned about my travel. Being organized give me safe space to prepare any possibilities I may have on the road. Where to go, where to sleep, where to eat. But to be honest with you, I had spontaneity about this trip. I thought like, should I have to do this? I had never visited Bali in my life. I live and grew up only in East Java. I really have no idea what will happen. Travel alone to other island for the first time. No relative over there, any friends or connections, and even only bring some cash. I have no choice at that time. I have nothing, even work to do. So I took a risk. Besides, I want to know about this island by myself. Lucky for me because I have a cousin who helps arrange my trip. Unluckily, I don't find any train ticket for me, so I took a bus. I don't have any clue how long I should sitting in this bus. I don't text or talk with anybody. What I did, just look out of the window and wondering what I did something wrong. Do I survive from this trip? What if something went wrong later? I have overthinking, but I try to keep myself calm. There were unhappy situation happened. So I commute from my town to near harbor by bus. I stop and sitting in 3 different buses at different bus stations. When I was at the second bus, someone who checking my ticket said the previous bus give me the wrong price. Normally I can pay more cheaper than I did. I felt upset and I know that's unfair. Honestly, I'm sad because why it's happening since I have limited money with me in this trip. But in the end, I try to let go. When I stopped the way to go to Ketapang Harbor, I met someone who actually sitting in the same bus with me. This was our first meet. His name is Imam and we both have same destination, which is Bali. Glad to hear, right? Finally, I found a company to reach Bali Island. In fact, this is our first time trip to Bali. Luckily, Imam has friend who helps us giving direction to go to Denpasar. I asked him what the motive you go to Bali, and he answered he wants to making money to achieve his dream. I realized both of us have similar motive to do this trip. We just quit from previous job and will facing job offer we had. Surprisingly, we both are people from food industry background who willing to work for our dream life. I will say I like to listen people's story, especially about their perspective about this life. I do like talking about hope and dreams because I'm sure everybody has their own problems. This is not about being pessimistic, more like how the way we struggle and grateful about our life. Sometimes we can feel being misunderstood, especially if we have different dream and perspective about life. But once we had someone who willing listen our thought patiently, without judging and giving moral support, it's totally different feel. This is why travel teach me about life. I got moral value from people's story. It's been a whole day I spent on the road. I'm super tired confused, and worried about what's upcoming next. Time for me to say goodbye with Imam and walk to find place to stay. Honestly, this is my first Couchsurfing experience being hosted by strangers. One of the reasons why I did this trip because I found a host already who willing let me stay in his house, and I want to have experience with this. 2 days before I went to Bali, I sent my request to stay and tell some local house in Bali about my trip. Many of them reject my request until there is someone named Fim who accept and letting me stay in his house. Fim is busy man, but I appreciate his hospitality and kindness. He even gave me a ride with his bike the day I went interview. We also having lunch together once. By the way, Fim actually foreigner who live and settle in Bali. This was my first time stay at stranger's house. Also few days I totally only using English to communicate. I also met other surfers, Kata and Andres, couple who decide to travel around the world. I stay in Bali only few days. I choose to stay at my house mostly and did little work to explore around. My host offering his bike to me, he said, "Why don't you explore this island since you are here right now? You can ride my bike, but don't crash, okay?" I told him, "Thank you so much. I will, but not for now." Then we hug, say goodbye before I'm back home. Since I far away, I text my relative and stay in Banyuwangi for a few days. Luckily, they are agree and pick me up at her. I will never forget about this trip. Every solo trip has their own story for me personally. Maybe that's the reason why I make this channel, to share about the true event I had and my personal experience with y'all. The older I get, the more I realize everything evolving. I start questioning about life, especially when I felt stuck with work life, toxic environment, and social pressure. I came from usual family. There were a lot of things happening since my parents separated and I decided to be free and kinda hopeless. There is a day I'm happy because I got my freedom and do whatever I want. I felt empowered since I can pay my own rent and bills. I also feeling empty, stuck with uncertain future. What about my next move? And loneliness. On the way back to Banyuwangi, I met someone who has never commuted with ferry. So we go together and start talking. He tells me about his story, how everything more difficult after the pandemic. He worked by selling crackers door to door. He made me realize that I should trust the God's plan. We can't control everything. What we can do is we have hope and do the best thing in life. He said there is a day when nobody buy his crackers. He went to mosque, pray, and surrender. He back home, he met someone who willing brought up these crackers. Unexpected, right? This is how travel changed my life. After I heard about his story, suddenly throwback on my first solo traveling. I stuck in the middle of nowhere. My phone no battery. I forgot my charger. I leave my cash in accommodation and have no card at that time. Accidentally, I met with other tourists at the museum. We talking and he give me a ride after he knows I explore with walking. Going solo, it might sound scary at first, especially about the possibilities and the worst situation we may have. But for me, solo traveling opened my eyes. Going solo give me time to connect and trust with my intuitions. World is wide. So if I have questions, how the way I enjoy this life, I will say with solo travel and enjoy moment and second I have in this life.